Hey guys, welcome to Grave Reviews. My name's Chris, and today I checked out this movie called Gods of the Deep. I think it came out a month or two ago, and it is directed by Charlie Steeds. The movie is about the ocean and cheap sets. The movie follows a group of submarinists. I don't think that's a thing. People who go in submarine... Oh, Jesus Christ. So the movie follows this deep-sea exploratory team as they find this opening deep within the ocean, and they discover a whole different world in the ocean, and there's Cthulhu monsters, and there's a lot of... So the movie follows this deep-sea exploratory team as they find this opening within the deep ocean, and then there's these like creatures, Cthulhu-type monsters, and some hijinks ensue within the crew, and then the movie ends, and we're here today to talk about it. Whew, Gods of the Deep. This is a movie that I appreciate in a lot of ways because of its very ambitious nature, despite its budget issues. And in a lot of ways that makes it fun because of how serious they take everything and how they are really going for it. But also in a lot of ways that's what makes it so hard to take serious in itself. When you're on an advanced submarine and it looks like a trash can lid is the seal for the submarine, it's kind of hard to take a little bit seriously. I mean, it looks like the movie was shot in a garage where they just put up like metal siding or something like that, and it doesn't quite work, guys. But it takes a level of ambitiousness to push past that and try and make a serious story. So the movie is competently shot for the most part, although there at times they like feel like they're using the same angle almost. They'll reframe, but it's ever so slight that it almost questions why they bothered to reframe. There's questionable setups in moments of the movie where they have the blocking of the actors that was distracting to me, and it forced them to reframe in certain ways where it was just like, it felt more like jump cuts than it did feel like different angle cuts. And that's me being very nitpicky, but it did bother me. The lighting is ridiculous at times, but in a fun way. The whole thing, I'm going to keep coming back to this, where it's like the actors are taking this script very seriously. There's moments that I think they're trying to be scary or exciting, and it just never hits because of how cheap looking the sets are. Like, you could just never buy into anything because of that. And I mean, I struggle with this with my own movie, where in my movie Transient, we had to make a helmet that was supposed to be advanced in a way that in the plot of the movie, read your brainwaves, etc. And I struggled with the helmet because I was worried it would look too cheesy and cheap and it would take you out of the movie. And that was just the one piece. And this whole movie, it forces you to buy into everything, and you just can't. So it becomes very, very silly the whole time. And instead of laughing along with the movie, you're laughing at it most of the time. It's not necessarily not enjoyable, but I don't think it's enjoyable in the way that the filmmakers wanted it to be. And this is guy, Charlie Steeds. I've watched his other movie before, and in a similar vein, they had created a whole set. I think it was called A Werewolf in England, and I enjoyed that movie quite a bit more. I think it worked a lot better. It was just supposed to be like an old house. And while it still looked kind of cheap, it worked enough. This, it just never sells the advanced submarine thing they're going for. I mean, they got like a Home Depot fold-up ladder and a trash can hatch. I don't know in what world they ever thought that this was going to work, guys. The other thing is the music is so constant and kind of distracting to a point. And it kind of overpowers scenes at times. The story itself is also a bit tropey. It reminds me a bit of Prometheus, and I feel like there's homages or maybe just hints at things like The Thing and Aliens at times, which I'm sure this movie is inspired by those. I also got kind of feelings of The Rift. Now, the thing that is kind of charming is there is a lot of practical monster effects and practical miniature effects, which are fun, but the movie has a deeply digital look. So like while movies of the 80s, like The Rift I'm talking about, it looked so much better because it was shot on film. But it also is not so sharp and digital looking, and it had some fuzziness to the image, and it had some soft focus that it would hide a lot of those things. And in this movie, they did like pump the scenes full of haze the whole time to give you that underwater feel, but at times it's like silly and distracting. They go into the cockpit of the ship, and it looks like they were hotboxing for the last 20 minutes, and you couldn't see anything. I'm like, it just doesn't make any rational sense of why the cockpit of the ship would be this much filled with fog. I would feel like you would have some sort of mechanical error or something going on in this submarine, that the whole thing is filled with smoke and fog. I mean, I know I'm arguing from a sense of logic that this movie doesn't operate within, but I just couldn't wrap my mind around some of the choices being made here. The acting is stiff at times, but also kind of forced to say lines that aren't natural. There's tropey sequences. There's dramatic moments that never hit. The movie is not good, unfortunately, but is kind of fun. I don't know how else to say it. If you're looking for something that is really silly and takes itself very seriously, and is something you can kind of laugh at as opposed to laugh along with, this is one of those movies. It's got cool poster artwork, and it has some cool visuals from time to time. The Cthulhu monsters look cool. Unfortunately, like, you get hints of these greater things with the monsters and stuff, but it, in the end, kind of spoiler alert, it all comes back to like the people on the ship kind of fighting each other and being what's the word I'm looking for? Not possessed, but kind of what's the word? Not inebriated. Influenced, I guess. Influenced by the creatures. And yeah, so it's a movie. It has a runtime, and you can watch it now. I'll give it a 3 out of 10. Good attempts, lots of silliness, and yeah. Gods of the Deep, guys. If you've seen it, let me know what you think. Maybe I was a little too harsh on this one. So that's going to do it for Gods of the Deep, guys. Let me know if there's any movies I should be checking out, and I will catch you here next time. Goodbye.